Good morning! What's up, guys? Hope you all had a good weekend. And now we are back to work, baby, so let's hit it. This is a 2-minute chart that you are currently looking at, and volatility is most certainly up. We're seeing over a 250-point move since the open. So, well, I guess since the dip following the open. So, I'm excited, man. Let's get to work. What do you think? ATR is currently 35 here on the 2-minute chart, which is damn high for a 2-minute chart, but we're going to make it work, man. And let's get to work. We are, of course, seeing a, I'm going to call it a morning bull trend. Later in the day, this is likely going to end up looking like I'm not even going to say soft. Later in the day, this is going to end up looking like, in hindsight, an intraday bull trend, because we're not in a trend market, right? We are now, I would say, as of, well, I mean, you could almost argue way back at the beginning of August is when volatility kind of started to increase. But then, middle of August, we saw volatility kind of die off a little bit. And lately, it's been hit or miss. Every day has either been kind of slow or really volatile, comparatively speaking. Today, seems like we may have one of those really volatile mornings. We'll see how it holds up into midday. Good morning, guys. How we doing? ABB, Dollar Bill, what's up, guys? Rufio, good morning. Christian, how we doing? Good to see you guys. All right. Minute 35 out. Let's see what we get on this 2-minute bar. Now, my thought process, really, I mean, we're looking, right? Does this turn into a thing? Based on volatility, I would imagine no, at least not very long. But we gotta draw it, gotta throw it out there and see, because that's what we're seeing here in the last 10, 12 minutes. So 70 seconds out, let's see how we close up here on this 2-minute, see if that does become a thing. And if so, we gotta watch for a little break. Alright, so you guys know me right at this point. This middle of this range here. That middle for me is very hands-off. Who is that for? One of you guys knows. Who do we leave that for? John, my man. That's right, John. The algos and the degenerates. At least that's who I leave the middle of the range for. There's nothing there. Now, the problem is if you start looking at every range the whole day and you're like, oh, it's the middle of the range based on the last 8 years, it's like, yeah, no shit. And then you never take a trade. So it's got to be contextual. But even in a scalping context, this is very, very tight based compared to the volatility we're seeing already here this morning, which is really high. I gotta tell you, I'm not gonna complain about high volatility. I love it. But 34 on the ATR, that's a lot, man. So let's see here. We need a reasonable setup here to be able to put something on. So we're about 60 seconds out. Honestly, if we did get a close at the low of this channel, within reason, I could, it depends where it closed, but I think I could make sense of a rollover buy, unless it's like below this wick, in which case, pass. Oh, man. All right, that push downside through. That's going to shoot any channel scalp in the foot. Big wick down beneath that previous wick low, and we're closing a point. Maybe a few ticks right above that previous wick, this one here. So now we go next bar here, minute 50 out. All right, 60 seconds here. Range on this bar, pretty much 30 as we currently sit. The ranges on these bars, they start getting big quick. Okay, so we got to think about that, you know, managing risk. If all of a sudden a bar grows to be 57 points, even with a 34 ATR, that's still, you know, it's tough to structure something that makes sense. All right, here comes the rollover. Big ol' inside close. Small bull body, but trying to get back into that little range. All right. It's all right. We're getting a lot of back and forth here in the last 15 minutes. A lot of red, a lot of green, a lot of wicks. It tells a story, you know. I mean, it's a very different story from what we were seeing back here. A little more indecisive at this point already in the day. 38 minutes in. By the way, that Apex sale, that ends tonight. Little over 12 hours out till that timer hits 0, so I'm going to probably be hitting that up again later today just to backlog me. Have a whole bunch of evals ready to rock. You know, I don't know, man. I mean, you could run the numbers. It depends on whether you're willing to gamble on what the next deal is going to be. But even if I buy it at 90, right now it rebills at 80 after a month, right? 80% off. Not $80. It rebills at 80% off instead of 90%, which you pay the first month. Even if I buy a bunch and backlog them and then get rebilled at 80% off, depending what the next, like if they dump it back to 50% off, you know, I'd almost rather just have that and just have some evals that I don't use for a month and a half. But I don't know. You gotta understand your numbers, right? How much can you spend on all in on your average account that includes all eval costs and all activation fees and still be profitable? If you don't know that number, man, it's a fucking problem. Minute 15 out here. Let's see what we get on this 2-minute bar. Now, The 20 EMA on the 5 is at 23,172. So there's room. But when that sits right here, you know, you look at the ATR, it's like, it's pretty much one ATR. It's close enough to think about it, but it's not so close that it would stop me from taking a trade here. 40 seconds out. See how this closes up. All right, 5 seconds here. Looks like we're gonna get a big old doji close. Oh man, that's a whole lot of nothing. All right, next bar, 2 minutes. So, I mean, you know, I look at this and I start to think, well, on a really short time frame, that's kind of a thing. I'd much prefer to maybe look, if we got rid of this, move that up a tad, and then extended it out. I mean, I'd kind of prefer to look at things like this. You'd maybe suck that down a little bit. Like, hey, you know, maybe this channel's just getting a little bit wider. 50 points or so at this point. Which puts us right back in the middle. But, you know, if we look at a 1 minute chart, you see that? Smaller time frame, that's very much a thing. But back to a 2 minute here, and we'll see if we get anything. Big ol' wick back out of the bears. Damn, they stepped in. All right, here we are, a minute 8 out here on the 2 minute chart. Now, there's a few things to think about. Again, on a lower time frame, you're gonna get something kind of like that. But I gotta tell you, overthinking these little levels has never served me well. I try to simplify these. I mean, like that, right? Yeah, just draw it kind of wherever. Makes sense in your head. You know, where are most people going to draw it? Probably, I don't know, somewhere around there. Split the difference between all these little wick lows. But if in 30 seconds, yeah, I mean, I don't know. If the bulls were to close this a bit higher, we could try a stop limit by stab and just use the low as the stop, but it looks like the bear is going to try to take it lower anyway. 20 EMA here on the 5 minute chart is sitting right here. 176. So here comes the rollover, 7 seconds. We're gonna see how that closes up, give it one more bar. There it is. All right, bulls. Trying to take it back up in that little flat range. Now, if they close that above the previous bar's wick high, things start to get kind of intriguing. I mean, the last bull body we've seen close above the previous bar's wick high. I mean, you could argue this guy, but I mean, with that wick, I kind of throw that out anyway. Is this one? Okay, range on this bar, creeping up. Bulls! Calm it down now, Jesus. Look at the range out. This bar is 50 points. Right in the middle of the range, here comes the close, 3 seconds out. That's gonna close pretty much dead center, right in the middle of the range. All right, next bar. Josh says, descending channel question, Mark? Yes. Well, let's all look at this, I suppose. I mean, listen, on a lower time frame, like a 1 minute chart, you're gonna have this kind of thing going. You're gonna have a flat top right in the middle of the bigger range. You could have this argument, right? More or less. You could have this argument. We could sit here and draw lines all day, and then it just gets confusing as all hell. So, yes, I am watching that, which is why I'm kind of hesitating to getting long near the low of the bar. I'm sorry, near the low of the channel, because it's getting soft. When you start to see that look, that potential descending channel in what you kind of know as a range at the moment, you got to be careful getting, in this case, long in the middle of the range, especially because, first of all, what's the middle of the range for? Algos and degenerates. Secondly, you could be right at that resistance point that the bears say, oh yeah, we have enough confidence to sell there. That's fine. We'll sell a bit earlier than the previous obvious range just because we think this is more obvious now. And if you're late to that acceptance of the descending channel being the more obvious thing at that point, you're going to lose. So, again, just need some more information. But that bar... got very interesting. Yeah, we wouldn't have gotten filled. My thought on that bar was, you know, hey, if you put out a stop limit sell, that's close. Volatility's high, my preset's a little tight. If you put out a stop limit sell beneath that wick low and you push through, I would get filled to the short side, but we wouldn't have gotten it within 15 seconds anyway, so that's all right. All right, minute 25 here. Let's see how the bulls close this up. I gotta tell you, I wouldn't be totally against getting short in the high end of this channel, if we could reasonably manage risk. All right, let's get the copy trader engaged. We are ready to rock. 20 seconds out. If we see this bull body close up toward 55, even high 50s, all of a sudden, I'm looking to punch it short, manage risk using this wick high, looking for a bet against the breakout, betting on the break back into the range. Bulls! Kind of a bullshit little close, huh? All right, next bar. Well, all right, let's get ready to go here. I will get the copy trader ready to rock. And let's see how this 2-minute bar closes up. We are 30 seconds out. Oh my goodness, bears. Bears, bears, bears. Currently right in the middle of the range. A lot can change here in 18 seconds. Let's see if it does. And we're going to close up right in the middle of the range. Nothing there. All right, next bar, 2 minutes. I want a fresh set of eyes, so we're going to delete all these. We know that that's potentially there, right? 20 EMA on the 5 is at 180. 23, 180. So, you know, there's room. Pretty sizable bar, and it's getting bigger. Range on that bar so far, looking at about 35 points. And we're about 17 points away from the 20 EMA on the 5-minute chart, which sits right about where my cursor's at. All right, 30 seconds. See how this 2-minute bar closes up. All right, half decent close there out of the bears. Sizable bar. Doesn't make sense as far as structure coming right into the 20 EMA at 183. On days like today, you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for reversal patterns. So what would that look like? Well, maybe 2 consecutive bear bodies with a third bar that's a small bull bar. Makes it easy to buy on a break above it using a stop limit buy, and it makes it very easy to risk the curl of that little small bull bar signal. The signal bar, right? And continuation setups inside of a channel that have room. That also makes sense, but the problem is, what gets a little tough when volatility gets higher, 60 seconds out by the way, what gets a little tough when volatility gets higher is those signal bars on continuation trades start getting big. As you move more and more into late morning, that becomes much less of an issue. But if you have a signal bar that's 70 points and ATR is 35, you're gonna risk the signal bar to try to make half an ATR? Things start to get a little bit hairy. I don't know, man. All right, 20 seconds out here. I will get the copy trader ready to go. We have 2 consecutive bear bodies, and the bulls trying to put in a half-decent bull body. If the bulls can close this near the high of the bar, I will have to use that stop limit buy. Oh, come on, bulls. Ugly. Nothing. Next bar. 2 minutes. Brennan, good morning, big dog. How we doing? Same idea applies here on this bar as long as it stays reasonably sized. That's about reason. Oh, bulls, you son of a bitch. That's no longer reasonable, bulls. At least for this little range. All right, range on this bar, we're looking at about 54, 55 points. It's kind of a big dog, that bull bar. So we're 10 seconds out here from the rollover. You know, we're coming into what a lot of people would call the flat top, but with that outsized of a bull body, do you want to step ahead of that? I don't. I can't. That would be a rule break for me, because that's an outsized bull push. Covering, or I guess backfilling the entire range in one bar, which you guys know, on bigger range, on a smaller range, I'll bet against one bar that backfills the whole range, but that bar was nearly 60 points tall. So we'll take one more bar here and see if we can get a little more information. Now, would I take a reversion setup here if this bear body stayed within reason? I would. I would, if it stayed within reason. All right, bears. All right, bears. Close it up like right here. All right, let's get ready to rock. 20 seconds out here, copy trader, ready to go if we see this bear body. I don't want to see it grow much more than that. Cannot see it grow much more than that. If we see it close near its low, I will set that stop limit sell a tick beneath and see if we can get a reasonable fill. Put it there, give it 15 seconds. That's a 15-second setup. That doesn't deserve any more than 15 seconds. One second. Gotta pull it. I gotta pull it. I gave it 16. Which I shouldn't have, but I did. And we still gotta pull it. All right, next bar. Gaines, what's up, brother? How we doing? This starts to get really... I mean, you could look at this like this. Yeah, that now is turning into this. It's like, okay. Okay, fair. Right? But what if it's all just this? I mean, it's all kind of the same shit, right? But I guess as scalpers, it makes more sense, I think, to look at the most reasonable level within a reasonable look back in time, which I would say is probably about that. So here comes the rollover of this 2-minute bar. We'll get a new one here, which is good because we need one. And we'll see what we get as far as close out of this one. Minute 55. All right, here. 70 seconds? What do you guys think? What do you guys think? The market gonna let us break the ice here? I'm looking to take about 35 trades today. Hopefully the volatility... Hopefully it holds up. Hopefully it holds up, but I don't want it to be all over the place. I don't want ATR to dip to 12 and then shoot back to 72. If we could hold at 20, 30, 35, that'd be tremendous. Right now, ATR 31, so it's kind of right in the sweet spot. But so far here, this is quite the range-bound little market ever since about 9 o'clock. You guys remember something? What did we talk about when I first came live? We said, hey, we're going to look back in hindsight, probably, and say, yeah, that was a nice intraday bull trend. Intraday bull trend, which doesn't last. So let's see if we can return to it. Roll over here. Big ol' inside close. Inside close. Inside close. Inside close. Let's see what we get here. Minute 53 out. Niles, good morning. How we doing, big dog? Yeah, I mean, listen, I gotta tell you, if the Bulls could close this up right above that previous bar's wick high, I would take a stab. I would take a stab to the long side. There's plenty of room. I can manage risk easily. the channel is less, I mean, it's pretty clearly defined, but depending how far you look back, I mean, on a 1 minute chart, now you start to look at this. So, you know, is it middle of the range? Yeah. But like, contextually, it's not really the same. I mean, you can structure something, which typically in the middle of the range, you can't. Let's just be real. A lot of this is discretionary. You know, long term, your edge, it's not going to come from, you know, the setups, they for sure help. But where it really is going to stay consistent is in just being 1% better, 2% better, 5% better at everyone else at recognizing things when they happen repeatedly from putting in more screen time. "12 seconds here." My goodness. I very much so hesitate to call that an outside bar. Technically is. Closing just barely beneath the previous bar's wick low, but come on now, that's garbage. Next bar, minute 45 out. See if the bears can give us a nice close near the low here. We can structure something there. That makes sense. There you go, bears. Hold it right there. Don't get any cockier than that. That is just fine. Now, I don't mind if this bear body's a little bigger because I'm not using it to manage risk. I'd be using probably this wick low. Could you push down to this wick low? Sure. Very good. Well, let's see here. If we can get a close at the low of this bear body, like kind of in this region here, I will get the copy trader ready to rock, and I'll buy that rollover using a limit buy order. 20 seconds out. Let's see what we get here as far as a close. Come on, bears. Take it low. Take it low. Take it low. And if we can, I'll punch that. Again, use this curl to manage risk. Structurally, that makes a lot of sense. Come on, bears. Good work. Good work. That's okay. Give it the rollover here. See if we can get a bit better of a push. Punch that to the long side, and we are sitting long. And I will use this guy here to manage risk. HR 28. See if we can get a push back up into this channel. Good bulls. Take it higher. Bears trying to take out that little low. That's all right. Just see if that ascending range holds up here. Finally breaking the ice here on the day. Market finally gave us something that we could structure that makes sense. All right, ATR about 28, 28 and a half. Bears are trying. We got 20 seconds left here on this 2-minute bar. Let's see how the Bears close it up. Risk managed right below this wick low using that curl. Again, could we use this curl? Sure, I want to use this one. Okay. Decent close out of the Bears. I gotta tell you, with the look that we're currently seeing, I would not get short on that bar. Why? We have the 20 EMA on the 5-minute chart at 198. Come on, Bulls. See if the Bears take out that wick from that previous curl. And they will, baby. All right, that'll stop us. Move on. Next trade here. All right, we got minute 15 out. And this is turning into a nice little 3 bear bar sequence, isn't it? All right, which we got to pay attention to. Ho, ho, ho. All right, Bears. All right, we've got quite the 3 bear bar sequence here. Copy trader ready to rock. I will have to get a stop limit sell out. And let's see if these bears close this up near the low of this bar. Now, we do have a potential range forming, but this is quite a clean 3 bar sequence, and I'm gonna have to place that, see if we can get a fill. Give that maybe 20, 25, 30 seconds. We did get it closed beneath that previous wick low. Okay, kind of this curl over here. So, give that about 15 more seconds, see if we can get a fill here. ATR 27. And if we do not take out that wick low where my stop limit sell is, then I do not want to participate. And we won't, so we'll pull that and move on. All right, minute 30 out. All right, 20 seconds out here. Copy trader is ready to go. We have, well, potentially 6 consecutive bear bodies, 4 of which that are more reasonable. So I will get a stop limit sell ready. If this bar closes near the low of itself, I will have to place a stop limit sell 1 tick below, even though it is shrinking. Yeah, it's about a 15-second setup. I'm going to place that, give that 15 seconds here. If we get a fill, great. If not, pull it and move on. 5 more seconds here, see if we can get a fill. No fill, gotta pull it. Next bar here, minute 42 out. see all these consecutive bear bodies? If this one closes as a nice, clean, consecutive bear body, that makes 7, 5 of which would be quite clean. So I am going to get the copy trader ready. We are 20 seconds out here. If this bear body can stay about that size, I do not want to see that bear body grow too much more. All right, chill out, bears. Keep it there. That's still relatively reasonable, so I will get a stop limit sell ready. If it stays put... Oh, bears. 15 seconds will give that. That deserves no more than 15 seconds. If we can get a fill, I will happily participate. If we don't in the next 5 seconds, we'll pull it and move on. No trade, pull it, next bar, minute 42. All right, there you go, bears. There you go, bears. Now, what do we have to keep an eye on here? Should we look at a 5-minute and make it painfully obvious? 50% retracement? We do have to keep an eye on that. Just thinking about it, but as many consecutive bear bars as we are seeing, that's going to trump any kind of 50% retracement. At least for me, for a scalp. Now, if I were swing trading it through the lows, I'd be thinking about it a little more. That's not the idea here. So if we get a clean close here out of this bear body, that makes 8 consecutive bear bodies. So bears, chill out. Keep it right there. I don't want to see that grow any more than that. Copy trader is ready. 20 seconds out here. That is a very reasonably sized bear body. I will get a stop limit sell ready to rock. Suck that down so we don't get a fill that we don't want. And get ready to plop it back down. Up top here, ATR 29. Place that, give that about 25 seconds. See if we can get a fill. If the bears can take out the wick low of this bar here, that signal bar, we will be sitting short. See if they can do it. Give this about 5-10 more seconds. 25 to 30 in total. And see if we can get a fill. No fill, gotta pull it. A lot of teasing here today, huh? It's all right. All right, bears. All right. If we get a clean close here out of the bears, I mean, we've been trying on a lot of these bars and getting teased. We have not gotten an entry yet, but this would make 9 consecutive bear bodies. So I'm going to get the copy trader engaged here. Let's see. And I'll have to get a stop limit sell ready if this closes at the low of itself. This 2-minute bar here, 10 seconds out. I will have to place that stop limit sell as close to 1 tick beneath that wick low as possible. Let's see here. Ooh, that's going to be the first inside close we've had on that entire sequence, I believe. Yeah, so we're going to have to get rid of this. Cancel that. And go next bar here. Now, after 9 consecutive bear bodies, the big question here becomes, as the bulls are trying to lock this up into a bull bar, the question becomes, do I take a reversion scalp? Now, given the context of the day, I would be open to it on the first bar. So we're 48 seconds out here. Let's see if the bulls can lock anything up. Otherwise, if the bears do take it down lower and give us another consecutive bear body, we'd have to think about that because this bar would have a tall wick, which would make managing risk a little weirder. But we're 30 seconds out. Let's see if the bulls can get something done. A nice close. Really what I'm after is a close above that previous bar's wick high, so a close above 152. But I'd really prefer a close up closer to 160, just because we already have that wick. Copy trader, engaged, ready to rock. Stop limit buy, engaged, ready to hit. 5 seconds out. Let's see if we get a nice clean close here out of the bulls. All right, I'm gonna have to place that as close to 1 tick above that bar's wick high as possible. Give that about 30 seconds, see if we can get a fill. $17, and we will. We'll get a fill. Suck that down. Volatility's a little high. And suck that out. All right, we'll risk that curl. ATR 25. See if the bulls can get a little bit more of a retracement. This is a range day after all. So we'll see if the bulls can get that done here. Come on, bulls. Now you can see the bulls are we're seeing a little bit of added buying pressure after those 9 consecutive bear bodies. Why? Well, probably because of the 50% retracement point on the day. It's probably helping. 5-minute 20 EMA is up at 188, so there's plenty of room. Bears putting our feet to the fire here. Gotta risk his manage below that curl. If the bears take out that curl, man, punch me out and move on. Let's see if the bulls can get something done. Oh, bears, bears, bears. Bulls stepping in, trying to wick. All right, bulls. All right, trying to see if they can turn that into a little trading range, huh? ATR 26. All right, bulls, widen out this range a bit. Put us in the money, baby. Let's go. Again, the 20 EMA on the 5-minute chart is up about here. Okay, so it's within reason here. Now, we haven't even really seen it all that much respected. We kind of blew right through it on the last test, so just keeping an eye on it. Again, nothing more, nothing less than that self-fulfilling prophecy mentality. Alright, bulls, you little sons of guns. Time to show a little backbone here. ATR sitting at 26. And good ATR. I gotta tell you, it's very nice to see volatility holding up. Especially an hour and a half into the day. Is this market back, man? Is volatility back? It's good to see. All right, now, bulls, take it up through, take it back up into that big old range. This range, I mean, really, if you want to look at it as a range, about 130 points. Let's see if we can backfill that bigger range. Stay true to the volatility here today, or if the bears say nope. Fingers on the trigger here. Well, back to pretty much break even on the trade. Here comes a rollover on this 2-minute bar. Let's see what we get. Yeah, kind of weak rollover there, bulls. I mean, I'll take it. Not what I love to see necessarily. ATR sitting about 24. Alright, bulls, not too bad. Keep that moving. Let's keep that attitude here. About time we saw a little backbone here out of the bulls. Good push, bulls. We will take 2/3, approximately, of an ATR. We'll take that. All right, kind of had our feet to the fire there for a little bit, but we'll take that and move on. Good trade. All right, we are 45 seconds out here from the close of this new 2-minute bar. Eric, good morning. How we doing? Good to see you, brother. All right, minute 50 out. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Volatility's coming in a little bit. We're now at 22. Remember about 30 minutes ago, I said if we could hold maybe 20, 30, 35 on the ATR, I'd be thrilled. Well, we're coming into the low end of that range here. So let's see. Yeah, you don't use trailing stops in a range market. At least I don't. I cannot make sense of that. That doesn't make sense to me. If you don't expect the move to go very far, now in a trend market, 100%. All right, so what are we looking at here? I am looking at this. This is a concern of mine. Now, is this like an expanding wedge, flat top? Yeah, who knows? We'll find out. We'll see if this just breaks, though. That's number one concern right now. 10 seconds out here till we get a rollover. Let's see. "60 seconds here. Let's see if the bears break this through. If they do, I gotta tell you, I'm starting to think, if the bears break this lower, I start to think, okay, are we seeing a soft bear channel? So if they do break it lower, it's like, okay, gotta get short, right? I don't think so, at least not for me, because then we start looking at, well, okay, does this break right back into a hard bear trend? Maybe not. Maybe we just see a soft bear channel. There we go, look at that. Let's see if the bulls try to take it back up right into that little range. Again, you could draw this a number of ways. bulls are struggling to take it back up. Yes, sir, Lee. Today's the last day of Apex 90% off. 90% off, and you don't have to, but you can pass in a day. You can pass in 1 second if you'd like. Not that I encourage you to do so, but that is the deal. Code BIG, baby, B-I-G. Over at Apex, 90% off. Ends tonight, I guess. All right. 2 doji bars in a row. All right, guys, back in a few minutes. Quick break. Don't go anywhere. Let's see if this volatility comes on back. ATR 20. Back in a few. What's up? We are back. And we are 15 seconds out here till the close of this 2-minute bar. Let's see if this closes up as a doji. I mean, you can see here. Let's get rid of all this. Just clean up our chart. And then get a fresh set of eyes. I mean, realistically. Right? I mean, I would say that's pretty much what we're looking at is a little collapsing wedge. Volatility, ATR, 19, as we currently sit. So, minute 43 out. Let's see how this 2-minute bar closes up. Okay, so with this wedge collapsing here, I gotta tell you, if we see a bull body closing near its high, for me, I think it's worth a stab as long as we can reasonably manage our risk. I would want to see a bull bar closing up in this region, ideally above that previous bar's wick high. But let's get the copy trader ready just in case we get that. And put our cursor there, see if we can get up into that region for a last second attempt. Big ol' inside close. No trade. We'll go next bar. Ninja, good morning. How we doing? Okay, now, well, we know that that's there. Let's get rid of it. And I'm just going to get the copy trader ready to rock here. If we get, I mean, we can see, again, this kind of collapsing wedge is very, very clear. Volatility coming in a little bit, but now flatlining about 19, 20. We've seen ATR between 18 and 20 pretty much, you know, for a little while now. So we're 17 seconds out. If these bulls can give us a nice close up above this wick high, come on, bulls. I'll have to punch it short. Use this curl up top here to manage risk. Inside close. No trade, next bar, we'll go 2 minutes. Ooh, that's going to be okay. So that's going to be an inside close there on this 2-minute bar. You guys see that? It closed just inside of that previous bar's wick high. So now we watch this next bar and we see, okay, it is this collapsing wedge. I mean, really, you draw like that. You can expand it out. It's always more of a range than it is an exact line. But is that going to turn into something here? Or are the bulls going to try to suck this back higher and look at the entire big range and backfill that? I feel like a lot of that answer relies on these next couple of 2-minute bars, especially this and the next 5-minute bar. So let's see here what we get. All right, we are 35 seconds out here. You guys see we got a few weak inside close consecutive bull bodies. If the bears close this up near the low of itself, of this bar, if we get a nice low close out of the bears, closing near its wick low, right? I will look to place a stop limit sell to get short if we punch through the wick of this bar on the rollover. And we'll use itself to manage risk. Let me show you what I mean here. Let's get the stop limit sell ready. And see if we get a nice low close here out of the... Ooh, you guys see that? You guys see that? That's one of those rollover glitches. And we will leave that be. Sometimes you get a rollover and a really, really hard push through damn near instantly. And there's nothing you can do about that when you're stop limit scalping. Nothing at all you can do. Even if you're quicker. You only be so quick. How quick is quick? When it instantly punches through. You'd probably get an error even if you had an algorithm doing the placement. So, that's alright. We'll go next bar here. Keep an eye on this flat bottom. This, by the way, is not low of day. Low of day happened shortly after the open. That's at about 23,025. So we're about 75 points away from the low of day yet. We got room, man. We've got room, baby. All right, here's a familiar setup, right? If the bears can take this and close it low, may we end up fighting this little wedge? Sure, potentially. Potentially, but this is a bread and butter setup here for me. So 10 seconds out, get a stop limit sell ready. Let's see if the bears can close this up near the low of this bar. Oh, bears, you're killing me. No setup, see that big old inside close? Cancel that. We'll go next bar, minute 57. All right, we have another familiar setup here. Potentially 3 consecutive bear bodies. We're 22 seconds out. Is there potential of a range? Yes, there is potential of a range. However, with a sequence like this, I mean, this would be, I suppose, if we see a bear close beneath that wick low, the strongest sequence we've seen in quite a while. So I will get a stop limit sell ready. 5 seconds, see if the bears can close it up beneath that wick. No cigar, no trade. Next bar. Minute 53 out. All right, I like the way this looks. We're kind of pushing down through, we're mushing through that 50% retracement point on the day. We are through it, which is good. Which is good if we're looking to take a trade to the short side, huh? All right, we are ready here. 38 seconds out. Let's see if we get a bear close near the low of this bar within reason. ATR is 17. Oh, bears! Come on now. That's going to be an outsized bar. That's about a 23-point bar. Oh, man, did we just get news? That is quite the outsized bar, though, bears. No, I'm not seeing any headlines. At least not yet. It's a good close out of the bears, just impossible for me to manage risk. I mean, ATR of 18. That bar had a range of about 35 points. Eric, I keep finding myself getting in a hole in the morning and spending the rest of the day digging out. Yeah, I mean, listen, let's think about this. I think a lot of people have been in that same boat, and let's think about why. The mornings have been very volatile, right? And the price action has been a little bit in between trend and range. It's been a lot of intraday trends in the morning, turning into more solid ranges quickly after that trend ends. And the transition period has been quick. And then what happens is later in the day, at least coming into midday, volatility seems to die off. So when we got on stream, the ATR was double what it currently is. It was about 35, 36 points. It's now 18. So what happens is you get kind of burned early, maybe betting on a trend, but it turns into a range. Betting on the range turns into a trend. And you get burned in the higher volatility environment, and then later in the day, you're like, man, it just feels like I'm digging a hole and then trying to climb back all day. It's like, well, yeah, volatility's lower. You're getting less for each trade. I think that's okay, by the way. As long as you're able to, throughout the days or throughout the week or two, try to contextualize yourself in the morning. Okay, so that you're not just doing this for 6 months. But there's a transition period involved, which, is definitely can be tough. 5 seconds out here. All right, you get this big outsized bear body right into a small wiki bull body. That leads me to think, I think we're probably entering another trading range here. Which is less of a trade idea in and of itself when it's this early and more of a deterrent. From putting on more of a breakout attempt. Not from putting on trades in general, but from taking a bigger breakout attempt. It's all right, let's see what we get here. 30 seconds. Redneck, what's up, big dog? How we doing? Good to see you. All right, 10 seconds out here till we get a new 2-minute bar. Tiny, tiny little bull body. All right, guys. Hey, listen, I'm going to stay live here. I got to get something fixed up quick. It'll be no more than... I'm going to overshoot. It will certainly be no more than 15 minutes, but I'm going to stay live. I hope to be back much sooner, but I'm going to get this fixed up. I'm just going to stay live, and I'll be back either way in no more than 15. All right? See you soon. All right, what's up, guys? Hey, just a few more minutes and then I'm back. And we're back to trading. All right. All right. You guys ready to rock or what? We're back, and we're back for good. So let's get after it here. Currently at 23.50. We're a minute 30 out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. Couple of a lot of inside bars here the last, shit, including this one. The last 5 bars have been inside closes. Looks like we might actually get an outside close here, though inside of this channel. You can almost extend this line back. So we know that that's there. We are 65 seconds out. Let's see what we get as far as a close out of this 2-minute bar. And if we do get a nice low close out of the bears, all of a sudden we might have a little channel scalp. All right, 25 seconds out here. Now again, if these bears close this bear body up near the low of the bar, looking at this bigger, wider channel, or you could call it a wedge, I will look to sell using a volatility still decent enough, ATR 17, so I will use a stop limit sell if the bears can do that. 5 seconds to make an adjustment here. Let's see if they can. Garbage close out of the bears. All right, cancel that. Next bar here, minute 55. Yeah, low at day still sitting at 23,025. Which you can see here, we're kind of sitting right ahead of. Right there is approximately the low at day where my cursor sits. Imagine the stops down there. So we got to think about that, but the problem is we've now come into that level and hesitated with a sideways trading range, and a lot of times that just murders my stop hunting mentality. So let's keep an eye out here. Hey, Keaton, what's up, brother? Good to see you. If we hit that level down there and hit the stops, what effect do you think that could have on the market and why? Yeah, Keaton, so when I'm looking to hunt stops, typically I'm looking for a hard test. You take out the stops. In this case, they're going to be maybe 24, 23, 20 for swing traders that are bulls. Right now, as we suck down, they're all sweating bullets, right? As we come into 23, 25, and they're like, oh shit, we barely. All right, let's drive up out of the hole. Okay, but their stops still sit where they were, and they're still kind of taking on some heat, assuming most of their averages are quite a bit higher because they're swing traders, right? Now, if we take out those stops on a hard test, in a volatile market, you can get a 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 point push through those stops because those stops are basically just market, in this case, market sell liquidity, which can give you a lot of quote-unquote free liquidity if you're scalping to the short side looking to push through that level. You have to get the break through the low to trigger the stops, but it can be a lot of free liquidity, which if you get a decent setup coming into it, can equal additional edge, right? It's a backbone setup of mine. But in this case, where we come down into that 23, 25 level where all those stops sit below because that's the low a day going back to the open, there's so much hesitation here that any tap through is going to be like a tap. Okay, now, could you still tap through, trigger a bunch of stops, snowball effect, it pushes through 8 points? 100%. And I imagine that's probably what we would see, but it would probably be met very quickly with quite a few buyers, which would just take it right back up into the range. So I don't think, now could we see this? Of course, but I don't think it's probable that we see a push through down through the stops at 23.25 and just enter this massive bear trend. I don't think it's going to happen. If it does, great, we'll trade it. But I think what's more likely is we eventually take out those stops, push 5 or 10 points, maybe, and then enter a trading range again as the buyers step in, because that's exactly what the buyers are doing right here near the low, just above those stops anyway. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Again, I mean, I'd like to hunt those stops, but it's kind of an ugly setup here now that we're in a trading range. Gotta be honest about it. To myself, that is. You know, honestly, if we had a nice clean bull close, I would not be against taking a stab to the short side. I actually like that idea. Let's see if we can get that. All right. All right, 35 seconds out here. Copy trader ready to rock. If these bulls close this bull body up near its wick high, it's got to be close because we could be looking at a very soft ascending little channel here. I'd love to see the bulls close it up here. If we could, I would punch it short using a limit sell and use that curl to manage risk. So again, a tight stab, but a channel scalp. Let's see if we can get that 10 seconds out. I do not need a stop limit because I would punch this with a limit sell. Bears wicking it back. No trade. Next bar. 2 minutes. All right, so let's get ready here. We're 32 seconds out. I'm going to get the copy trader ready to go. Now, I got to tell you, I'm looking at this more of a range than anything. So we do have 2 consecutive bull bodies. But being a range, I would much prefer to take this to the short side. Now, as far as risk management, it really depends where this bar closes up. I'd probably use that wick back there to manage risk and just take a tight little stab. ATR is 18. Let's see how the bulls close this up. Limit sell out, and I will punch that to the short side. Suck risk up. Keep that risk tight where it makes sense to put it. And let's see if we can get a suck back into the range out of the bear. The bears, not the bulls. Come on, Bears. All right, ATR 17. We don't need all that much on this scalp here. All right, now, Bears. Take it down into the trading range. Good, keep that pushing. No, bulls. We're not ready for that yet now, come on. Don't get too cocky now. Again, risk right above this wick high back here. If the bulls take that out, it'll stop us and move on. I am right now not buying this little breakout attempt out of the bulls. So let's see if the bears can suck this back into the trading range. That's what we're looking at right now. All right, half decent close there out of the bulls. Now again, this risk here, this is a small little stab. Our risk right now is less than 1 ATR, which is not entirely that common. Come on now, Bears, do it to him. Oh, Bears. Weak! Oh, let's see if the bulls take out that wick high. See, those bears are trying to step ahead of it. It's being watched. Probability right now, not tremendous, gotta tell you. All right, new bar here. Small little bare body. Not what you love to see, but I mean, for the position we're in, I'll take it. All right, let's see if the bulls pop it through this little wick high. If they do, risk management offloaded to the computer. Cut it. Small loser, move on. There you go, Bears. We're not out yet, huh? I don't know, man. Can't count it out. It ain't over till it's over. That goes for being in the green, too. All right, ATR about 17. Keep an eye on that. bulls want to grind this baby higher. Oh, these little grinds will get you. Come on, bears, don't let them. Volatility coming in below 17 on the ATR. That'll cut us. Let's move on, baby. That's it. All right, next bar here. Getting a new bar. Now we got to be careful. The 5-minute 20 EMA is rated 23,093. So that is sitting right about there. Now, when I say we got to be careful, you got to be careful of that if you're a bull, but you also got to be careful of the slow grind if you're a bear. And we also got to keep in mind that we have tempted that low of 23.25 for over a half hour, damn near 40 minutes. All right, 20 EMA on the 5 is where my cursor is. Makes your life a little more complicated if you're a bull, huh? That last test that we got at that level, around 10:05 Central, got rejected hard as all hell. Now again, I don't care about it, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, so you have to kind of care about it. If people are watching it and making decisions around it, guess what? All of a sudden, algorithms start saying, hey, we should probably watch this and make decisions around it. And all of a sudden, it's a real thing. Now, that only goes for popular indicators on popular time frames. Now, I mean really popular, like the 20 EMA on the 5, or volume-weighted average price. If you're looking at some kind of fancy clouds on a 7-minute chart, you got problems. That's not going to work too well, most likely, if you're going strictly off the indicator. All right, 10 seconds. Come on, bears. Well, that's going to be an inside close, so we got to go one more bar here, 2 minutes. And see if the bears can put something together here, in which case I would be interested in getting short. But after that one little bear bar inside of the previous bar's wick low, you think I can get short on that? Absolutely not. All right. 30 seconds out here. Copy trader engaged, ready to rock. If we can get a nice bear bar closing, I'm going to say beneath this wick low here, which is where we currently are, then I will have to try to put this stop limit sell to work. And let's see if we're able to do that. Makes managing risk very easy. 8 seconds here. ATR 15.5. Ooh. Okay, I can make sense of that still. Place that guy, see if we can get a fill. Bring that up maybe one tick. There we go. Beautiful. See if we can get a fill. No fill. If we don't take out that wick low of the previous bar, at least a little more than that, I do not want to be, I do not want to participate. We'll say, we'll give that 10 more seconds here, see if we get a fill. If not, pull the order. That right there, that's why we use stop limit sells and stop limit buys on little continuation trades. Pull that order, no trade. Good. Good little built-in risk management. Next trade here, minute 23 out. You think the 250K Apex deal is the best one on the table right now? I don't know, they're all good. Hit it. 250 is ridiculous with the activation fee they're asking. Honestly, guys, this deal at Apex right now that ends tonight is so... It makes the numbers look stupid. It's just dumb. I don't even know how they can run this deal, to be honest with you. But they are, so I'm hitting it. I'm not asking questions, man. We're just hitting it. All right, minute 25 out here from the close of this 2 minute. ATR falling down to 15. I gotta tell you, I would call this an extremely, extremely soft ascending little range here. So we gotta think about this. I mean, you gotta be careful taking little breakout attempts. I'm more inclined to take reversion scalps right now. The way this is looking here. The bulls, yeah, I mean, if the bulls could close it above this wick curl here, I'd punch a limit sell as long as the bull bar is within reason. Obviously, it's probably not going to happen on this bar, but we are 30 seconds out. You can get big adjustments last second, so we'll keep our finger on the trigger here, ready to rock. Yeah, inside close there out of the bulls. All right, we'll go next bar, minute 57 out. All right, new bar here in 5 seconds. Whole lot of inside closes, man. Oh, ATR has fallen off a cliff down to 13.5. All right, we gotta see this pick a direction and go. Save that ATR. 20 EMA still at 23,089. So that's on the 5-minute chart, the 20 EMA. You're looking at a 2-minute chart, but that's where that overlays here on the 2-minute, right where my cursor is. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, I'm more inclined to look for reversion scalps right now rather than continuation, just because this move is not going very far in either direction. So 90 seconds out here. Let's see what we get. Any of you guys hitting this little range? Man, this is brutal, this little range. I mean, shit, look at a 1 minute chart. Look at this. That's what a 1 minute chart looks like right now. Almost call that a little barcoding on the NQ. All right, new bar, new opportunity here. Minute 54 out. 20 EMA on the 5 minute chart is at 23.87. Okay, good. This is already getting us closer to a setup here. If the bulls can give us a decent close, I'm interested in trying to fade it. Beauty. Keep that up, bulls, but stay right there. Don't grow too much more than that. All right, 27 seconds out. Copy trader ready to roll. We're looking at this pretty damn tight channel. I am interested in reversion scalps more than anything right now. 20 EMA right around where my cursor is. That's on the 5 minute chart. You're looking at a 2 minute chart, but that's where the 5 minute 20 EMA overlays currently. And let's see if the bulls can close this. Get back up toward the top of that bar and I'll punch a limit sell. Look to fade that. No chance. No trade. Next bar, 2 minutes. That's not too bad there, bulls. I'll take that, man. I'm sorry, bears. I guess bulls letting go. All right, bears. There you go. 27 seconds out. If the bears can give us a nice close near the low of this bar, which will put us near the low of this very soft little ascending channel, I will look to fade this back upside into the trading range, which would put me long using a stop limit. I'm sorry, a limit buy order that I would punch here on the rollover. Copy trader ready to rock. Let's see if the bull bears can close this nice and low. I'll give that a second, see if we can get a push. 15 seconds. If we can get a push down into this region, I'll punch it. If not, we'll go next bar here. 7 seconds. Yeah, nothing there. All right, new bar, minute 45. All right, 23 seconds here. Let's see if we can get an entry here. We've been getting teased a lot in this little trading range. Copy trader engaged. If the bulls can close this nice and high, I will have to punch using a limit sell. Looking to get short here. Let's see. Good bulls. Limit sell out and we will get a fill. I will suck that guy back. Use this wick back here. You guys can't see that right there to manage risk and see if the bears can take this back into the trading range like they've been doing pretty much all day here. All this is a bet against that bull breakout. That's all right, bulls. Have a little confidence. That's fine. And then we'll smack you right back down into the range. ATR 14. All right, bulls. Thinking you're doing something. That's all right. Trying to push through the 20 EMA on the 5-minute chart. That 20 EMA on the 5 is right around 85, 86. But that's all right. This is the first bar pushed through. Oh, balls! More. I should be yelling at the bears. Not getting the job done here. Let's see if those bulls reclaim that wick that we're using to manage our risk back there. Taking on some heat, man. This has kind of been the story of the day today. Taking on a little bit of heat, getting damn close to getting stopped. And then our team steps in and holds that off, defends it for a little while. All right, there you go, bears. Suck this back down into the range. That's been the story of the day, all day. ATR 15. Ooh, I better keep my finger on the trigger here. Let's see. Come on, bears. Suck it back into the channel. That's the story of the day. Breakouts are not working all that well, at least in the last hour and 90 minutes. All right, bears. This would be bad timing to let them break this thing out. There you go. Suck it back into the range. ATR 14. We're going to get a bit better than half an ATR at least. At least here out of this scalp. There's plenty of room to make that ask, by the way. Yeah, doji close. You can see the insecurity, at least thus far, out of the bulls is present. It's just they're still kind of out muscling those bears. But gotta give my bears time. I mean, I want to bet against this breakout. Breakouts have not been going very far all day. Now, does the timing or the positioning end up being off? Yeah, maybe. That's part of the game. It's not about just being right. in general, right? Otherwise, you could just risk the daily curl and swing trade. But scalping's kind of a different ballgame here. Again, I'm not looking for this whole little soft bull channel to reverse. I'm just looking for the bears to not let this baby break out. Suck it back into the range. We can cover our risk, take profit, and move on. But these bears are being some sons of guns right now. Alright, bulls, hey, I think it's safe to expect that this breakout isn't coming yet. Lay down for 30 seconds. Let us bears have our fun here. Big ol' wick, giant wick back. HR 13. There you go, bears. We'll take better than half an ATR. Damn near 2/3 of an ATR. Good. All right, next scalp. Minute 35 out here. All right, minute 22 out here. Big wicks on these last few bars. Gonna want to see that clean up. I mean, ATR, at least I don't want to bitch too much. ATR, could be 6. 14 is actually a very good spot for it to sit. We just need the price action to kind of pick something here rather than this. This is all right, but after all these little wicks, I need a bar or two that's a little bit cleaner. There you go. There's a little outsized bar out of the bulls. Doing something here. Hey, Knight, I use affordable indicators. I just like it. No affiliation. But damn it, maybe they should hit me up. I give them so much free promo, man. But they did hit me with the copy trader. They said, hey, you want to use this? I said, yeah, let me give it a shot. And shit, am I glad I did. Because it has been very good. It has been my favorite copy trader that I've used by far. They're running deals all the time at affordable indicators, but man, I would happily pay triple what full price is. It just works. They know what they're doing. You guys seeing this? This looks to me like this is just an expanding wedge, which is actually very good, which means we might see that ATR start creeping up. Currently at 14.5. All right, here comes a close. New 2-minute bar here. There you go. There's the rollover. That's a beautiful thing. Now, this is one of those scenarios where it's like, okay, punch it long, right? The ATR is less than 15. Well, it's about 15. What if this becomes a thing, which I think it might? This expanding wedge, right? That's a concern. Can we really expect after all of this, all these mixed in bare bodies for the bulls to just say, okay, it's ready, and we push through to 23,180? Could it happen? Of course. Happens a lot. Is it probable is the better question. That's the real question as traders. Is it probable? And the answer is no, it's not really probable. Now, does it happen? Fuck, I hope so. And then we can trade it. But getting long there for me, that does not make a lot of logical or mathematical sense for me. Just given the ATR of 15 currently. And that last bar being a little outsized. Range on that last bar was close to 25, about 23, 24 points. All right, new 2-minute bar. You guys see that? I mean, very obvious doji close. That's what I mean. I mean, getting long on this bar, there's just, I think, too much of a risk of a little ascending channel. They're saying, yeah, I mean, come on now, really, bulls? But again, do we push? Fuck, I hope so. It'll increase volatility. I just can't take that trade right now. So we're a minute 35 out. Luckily, we are never more than one 2-minute bar away from an entry. So let's see what we get here on this bar in 90 seconds. All right, back in a few. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. 50 seconds out here from the close of this 2-minute bar. By the way, we are pretty much nearing that 50% retracement spot on the day yet again. Take a look here. This is the 5-minute chart. You guys see that? Kind of coming into that halfway point. So let's go back to a 2-minute here. We will keep an eye on that. All right, we're 50 seconds out here. We had a whole bunch of consecutive bull bodies, varying sizes by quite a bit, with one tiny little bear doji mixed in. So, 35 seconds. If the bears can take this bar, turn it back into a bear body, this is a big ask, and close it beneath that wick, all of a sudden I'm getting short using a stop limit sell, at least trying to. So, you know, as this bar goes on, it's just going higher and higher, but let's get ready here just in case. Copy trader engaged. Want to be ready. Yeah, there's nothing there, man. All right, we'll pull that, and we'll go next bar, minute 58 out. How are you guys doing today, by the way? I'm very curious to hear how you guys are handling the price action. I mean, we've talked all the time about context, and today's one of those days that can be kind of tough. Because you have a big giant range, basically 230 points wide. But in between, we're getting a lot of smaller ranges, little trends. You know, you'd think today would be kind of a playground, but we've been getting so many inside bars that, I mean, 4 trades, come on now. I'm looking for 60! Blue and Apex? Yeah, well, luckily they're 90% off. It's alright. It's alright. Just learn. If you made a risk management error, learn. If you didn't, and it just didn't go in your favor, that's alright. Eric climbing back. Chuck doing well? Steven, done for the day. How you doing, by the way? Did pretty well right now. Hard at work developing your own copy trader. Man, don't make the same mistake everyone else does. If you can make a copy trader that never has bugs, has presets, you can group things in a preset manner, shows the total P&L across accounts, all the things that most copy traders miss. Man, the market's yours at that point. The copy trader market, that is. All right, we're 37 seconds out. Let's see what we get here out of this 2-minute bar. All right, I'm going to get my copy trader engaged. We are 6 seconds out. Let's see here. If we get a close beneath. I got to punch that long. Little reversion scalp. Let's see if we can get a push back upside. Out of the bulls there. Okay, good. Risk on that is extremely reasonable. I can make sense of that. ATR 13. Here, punch that back. There you guys go. Now you can see what's going on. All right, bulls, fade that little bare body. Again, just using this little curl here to manage risk. For me here, easiest, best way to do it. Oh, bears! Now risk on this less than 1 ATR, so we'll see here. Alright, they'll cut us. Alright, let's move on. Gonna flatten the copy trader here. Alright, move on, next trade. Yeah, I mean, see what I mean? You end up with this. It's kind of tough, right? Little tough today, but we'll do what we can. Tight little range, all of a sudden you expand a little, and then all of a sudden, boom, you know, you have 2 big consecutive back-to-back bear bars. So we've got a new 2-minute here. I mean, let's see how it closes up. Now this look is getting interesting. Makes you start thinking. I mean, kinda, right? 20 EMA on the 5 is right here, by the way. Right where my cursor is. But if we did get a big bear body closing down here, 3 consecutive bear bodies, do I want to step ahead of that? Well, I gotta tell you, if I had to do something, I'd be stepping ahead of it. I wouldn't necessarily want to. If we had 3 big consecutive bear bodies in a market like this, where things have been kind of slow, and all of a sudden you have 3 outsized bear bars. But if you're like, hey, you have to do something, I'd have to buy that if that's what even happens here. 15 seconds out. Yeah, I'm going to want more information here. So let's see what we get. All right, 32 seconds. We have a bull body. Okay, so you guys see this here? Growing bear, consecutive growing bear bodies. Shrinking bear body. Bull body, trying to close ahead, above, that is, the previous bar's wick high. Textbook for me. If this can stay put. Don't grow too much more than that, bulls. ATR 14. I will have to get a stop limit buy ready. Let's see if we can place that guy. And we can place that there. Gotta go up about one tick. Didn't do it. Okay, there we go. Gotta fill. Suck risk up. And see if we can get a decent push out of bulls. Textbook setup there for me. Repeats constantly throughout the day. At least on days like today. And you put it on, you accept the outcome. You don't be a baby about it. ATR 13. All right, now, bulls, come on, take this up through. We're not even asking for a breakout. We're just asking for a range backfill. We got a soft little bull channel going on. Did get a little harder. Now we're starting to flatten out a little bit. Even that being the case, man, this structure, it still makes sense for me to put it on. All right, inside little close there out of the bears. There you go, bulls. Take this up through ATR 13. Good, bulls. Keep that pushing. Being met with a little selling pressure. It's all right for now. I see a bit better of a push than that here out of the bulls. There you go, bulls. Keep that pushing. Keep it pushing. Keep it pushing. Weak. Go. Decent close there out of the bulls. You can see outside close. There we go. Much better than half an ATR. We will take that and move on. Next trade. All right. Minute 26 out here from the next bar. All right, 60 seconds here left on this bar. ATR falling a little, down to 12.8. Can you guys believe when we started the stream, 3.5 hours ago, that ATR was above 35? Now, obviously, you expect it to come down as midday approaches, as the lunch hour hits, but it's quite a bit. We're seeing volatile opens, and then big old dump-offs in volatility, but the price action is not horrendous. It's actually cleaned up a bit in the last hour. there's a bull body, huh? All right, that takes out that little curl. Okay, now the more I look at this, the more I start to think, does this become a thing? Which makes it really tough to get long on a bar like this, especially as we're trying to push through that 50% retracement zone on the day. Right here, let me show you on a 5-minute. See that? Kind of right about halfway. All right, back to a 2-minute here. Borneo, 3 Apex evals using code BIG, baby. Listen, if you haven't hit the deal, it ends tonight. 90% off, and you don't have to, but you can pass in a single day over at Apex with code BIG. It's B-I-G, baby. Now, by the way, I do have some Apex accounts, evals that is, that I'm going to be giving away here. Well, periodically. And that will be an ongoing thing for the foreseeable future. So we got to figure out how to gamify the giveaway process. Random is cool, but what I'd rather do is have everybody make an estimate or guess on price at a particular time, obviously ahead of time with a cutoff. And then whoever's the closest wins a free Apex eval. I think that'd be a fun way to do it. And by the way, these accounts that I'll be giving away are good for any size account. You can do a 300K if you want. We don't know. Nobody knows if Apex is going to extend 90. I don't know. No one knows. They don't tell anybody. If you wait until it's over, you're gambling. They might go back to 50%. They might extend it. But as of now, it ends in 10 hours and 29 minutes. All right, guys, hit code BIG. Apex ends tonight. Do they extend it? No idea. No one knows. You can gamble on that if you'd like. I'm going to go hit some evals just to make sure I have plenty backlogged in case they don't and they say it's fucking over and they go back to 50%. Take Profit Trader, same code, code BIG. If you want the daily payouts, hit Take Profit Trader. It's currently 40% off and no activation fee if and only if you use code BIG. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning. Subscribe to the channel and we're scalping live again. Market open. All right, see you guys. Have a good afternoon.